Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to your first step into the world of programming. In this video, we'll be covering what is programming, why you should learn a middle level language like C or C++, even though it's 2020. Then we'll be looking at how you can set up your system to write your very first C program. So, let's get started. We are surrounded by technology that makes everything so efficient and immediate. Tasks that took us hours just a few years ago are now just a swipe away. Almost every piece of technology surrounding us runs a piece of software under the hood. These fragments of code are specifically designed and programmed so that the device can perform the intended task it's meant to do. So the question is, what is programming and why should you learn it? Well, programming is how you tell a computer to solve a particular problem. It is the communication bridge between a human and a computer. Coding is the way you translate your logic into fragments of code that a computer can understand. In this technological era, learning to program is an essential skill because everything is running a software under the hood. Learning to program is also important because it boosts your problem solving and logic building skills. It also helps you to understand new advancements in technology and jobs, of course. As the technology advances, new jobs are created. Today's jobs are more tech oriented and hence need people who understand how to program. Speaking of jobs, Steve Jobs even once said, everyone should know how to program a computer because it teaches you how to think. So now we understand what programming is and why we should learn it. The question is where to start. A quick Google search is enough to confuse you on this very simple question. Many will say start with Python as it is easy to learn. Some will say start with HTML and CSS because it's more simpler and clean. Some might even say start with Java, but don't if you value your life. Very few will suggest C as a starting language, and I am one of those. Let me tell you why you should start with C. Universities start with C language as the first subject in any programming course. Major parts of operating system like Windows, Linux, etc. are still written in C. Nothing, and I cannot emphasize this more, nothing beats C in performance. Smart devices use C under the hood because it consumes less resources. Gaming frameworks like DirectX have been built using C language. And the beauty of C or C++ is that if you understand it, you should be able to switch to any new programming language with less effort. So, the brains behind this amazing language was Dennis Ritchie, who developed this language at AT&T Bell Labs in 1972. A language so amazing that even after 48 years, it is still the most popular language as of October 2020, according to the TOB index. You can check the TOB index. Link is in the description. We are almost done with this boring theory section. The last thing to know is how we can start with C. To run C language code, we need a software known as compiler. A compiler is the translator for the system and it will translate our codes into machine codes which a computer can execute. The C compiler we'll be using is called GCC and in a Linux system this comes pre-installed. For a Windows system we need MingW, the minimalistic GCC for Windows. If you are a Mac user, you have a pre-installed C compiler with the name of CLang. I will be using a Windows machine for this series, so let's see how to set up our C programming environment on Windows. In this series, we'll be using Visual Studio Code as our IDE. The reason for selecting Visual Studio Code or VS Code for short over C language specific IDEs like Turbo C or Code Blocks is that VS Code is more generalized and user friendly as compared to others. You can download VS Code from their official website at code.visualstudio.com. The link is in description. Once you download for Windows, you will get an executable and it follows a standard installation process. Once we have installed VS Code and it's up and running, we need to download the C/C++ extension, which will configure our VS Code to run C programs. To do so, go to the extension tabs and search for C/C++. The first extension is the one that we need, and it is provided by Microsoft itself. Since I have already installed it, mine gives me the option to disable or uninstall it. In your system, it will give you the option to install the extension. Once you install it, you are ready for the second step of setting up our programming environment on Windows. The second program that we need for our environment is the compiler. As we discussed earlier, the compiler is the program that will translate our code into machine executable code. The compiler can be downloaded from the SourceForge website, as you can see on the screen. Once the compiler has been downloaded, proceed to run the executable for the installer. Installing the compiler is a bit trickier. While installing the compiler, you will come to the settings screen. In the settings screen, change the architecture from i686 to x86_64 and then proceed for normal install. Do not change the destination folder as it is important for the second step of installing the program. Then wait for the installer to complete. As I have already installed the compiler, I will not be proceeding with the installation. Let's see what is the second step of the installation process. Once the installation finishes, the next step is to make the compiler available throughout the system. To do so, we need to add the bin folder found inside the destination folder that we just created while installing compiler to what is known as the environment variable. To do so, first go to the search bar and search for environment. Here you will see the option edit the system environment variables. Click on that. Then in the new window that pops up, select the environment variables button and inside the system variables pane, select the variable named as path. Go to the edit mode. Here you will see a bunch of paths that has been added by default. Go to the browse option and from here select the bin folder that was created in the destination. It will be found in C program files. Then going inside the mingw directory, inside it you will see the bin folder. You can select that. As you can see, I have already added that the bin folder. After that, you just click OK to every window, and congratulations, you have now just added the compiler to be available throughout your system. We can check whether or not our compiler is now available throughout the system by simply opening a command prompt and typing the command gcc double dash version. As you will see, it will pop out the version of the gcc that you have just installed. I am using the version 8.1. Now we can move on to the last part of the of this video, that is running the first program in C language. Now that we have our environment fully set up and ready, we can move to the exciting part of writing some code. So let's get started. Open your VS Code, go to File drop down and select Open Folder. Then select a folder of your choice. As you can see, I have selected a folder named Hello World. In the right File Explorer pane, right click and select New File. Name the new file as hello.c. .c is the extension that we'll be using to write our C language code. We will write a simple program that will print hello world to the screen. Do not worry about what is the meaning of each line for now, as we will demystify each line of our code in the next video. All that matters right now is that this program will print whatever is inside the double quotes in this printf to the screen. Now save the file and press F1. Type run build task and select the option. Then select the compiler and press enter. This will create a new executable file with the name hello.exe. Now to run this exe file, we need to create a new terminal. We can do that from the above drop down. In the new terminal that is just created, we write the command /hello.exe and voila, you have hello world on your screen. Congratulations, you have successfully wrote and ran your very first C program. In the next video, we will dissect this program and learn what each line means. See you there. Do not forget to like, comment and share the video.